Hi guys, welcome to Introduction to Excel. Obviously you've got your Excel workbook open. When you opened Excel, you would have noticed that it has quite a few templates available which you can choose from, or you can just simply open Excel and start a new workbook. We'll cover the Excel interface, the ribbon, the toolbar, navigation, and then deal with cells, rows, columns, sheets. And I'd like you to watch until the end, because what I'll be doing is showing you a quick forecast or a mini budget that you can create for balancing your bank account, and if you have a spouse, you can also do the spouse's bank account in the same at the same time. So yeah, let's start this video. It's going to be a video about basics of Excel. So once you finish this, I think the goal is that you can work comfortably in Excel and at least start a spreadsheet by yourself. Alright, so as you can see, we've got a blank Excel spreadsheet or workbook, whatever they want to call it. So across the top you've got the tabs. See all the tabs, file. So if you go into file, there are some of the templates that I spoke about earlier, and there's your blank workbook that we started with. You've got the home one, which we are on right now. You've got an insert, you've got a page layout, formula, data, review, view, and then a help tab. You're going to start on the home tab, and you'll see each of these tabs, when you click on them, left click, you would have a ribbon at the bottom here that basically has all of whatever you can choose under the home. Under the insert, you'll see there's a lot of different ribbons or different ribbons for each tab. Even the page layout, different. What is interesting about this ribbon, for example, if we look at page layout, all of these, margins, orientation, size, print area, etc., all has to do with page setup. So you'll see all of these are within page setup ribbon. And then sometimes there's more of the page setup, but that doesn't fit into the space, and it will have a little page setup drag button at the bottom here. So if you left click on that, you'll see it actually opens more of page setup. So there's more functionality available when you do press the launch button at the bottom right hand side. Alright, so basically we're going to start at home, just show you a few basics. And before we start, obviously Excel, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the alphabet numbers, or alphabet letters. That is a column, down, column, column, so all of those are columns. And at the bottom here, the numbers, those are rows. So there's a row 3, there's a row 5, row 8, row 11, and it goes right through. So you'll see the E as well. If you go down, it goes to infinity, if you want to call it that. When you click on a cell, so literally these little blocks here are called cells. Your cell position, you'll see if you click on any cell, at the top left here, it will say which cell you have clicked on. So that's D5. So literally it takes the D, and then there's D7. So it's column D, it's row 7. And if you enter any information into there, whatever you click, if you press enter or the return button, it actually goes down. So yeah, you can use your mouse. It's probably a little bit easier to move around Excel. So you can go back there, left click on it, and we'll just clear that by deleting the cell. So if you want to, for example, let's say A, B, C, D, and you left the E out, and you've returned or pressed the enter button, you'll see we left E out. So if you want to add something into that, if you start typing as it is there, A, B, C, it actually overwrites what you've got in the cell. So if you escape without pressing enter, it goes back to your original whatever was in the cell. So if you want to make changes to that, you've got two options. You either go to the top here where the formula bar is, and you put your mouse cursor in between there, and you put an E in there, and you basically enter or click the enter there, or press enter on your keyboard. It will then add that E in. But if we, for example, just go back to where we were, and you've got A, B, C, D, and then F, if you want to go onto the actual cell and make changes to that, you quickly double click with the mouse button, and then you can basically move around with the arrows inside here. So there you can put the E in. I find it a little bit better if you click on a cell like that, and you go to the formula bar at the top here. It's far easier to actually get the mouse cursor to just drop there, put an E in, and press the return or the enter button, and there you've got your E in. Just a little bit of a tip there to let you move around here. So what do you want to do with Excel? Excel has got so many things that you can do with it. It is spreadsheet driven, but you can do just about anything. Budgets. If you look at the file tab, for example, there's a whole lot of templates that you can have a look at. Formulas, Power Queries, there's charts, there's pivot tables, there's budgets, there's calendars, it's unending. If you go down here, there are so many that you can actually start using. So I think it's important for you to play around with Excel and just go into something and just start playing around with it and see where you can get at. You'll see I've saved this as book 1, video 1, but you can obviously go and save as, click File, Save As, and basically then you can save it where you want to save it. You can browse a location and save it where you want to save it. So you click on Browse, and you go and find a space where you want to save a desktop, or if you have a particular folder where you want to put it. Mine's obviously saved already, so we'll just go back to it. The other thing is, I would always say to you that you must save it when you start with it. You'll see mine is still blank here, but I've saved it already, because any changes that you now make, if something happens and you lose the spreadsheet, at least your changes would have been saved and up to now. So basically what we can do is we can start, and what I'd like to show you now is something that I've already done, but you can basically now start and type headings. You can give your rows, you can give them names, you can give your columns names. It's just unending what you can do with Excel. So I've already got it pre-prepared on sheet number 2. So you'll see you've got sheet number 1 and sheet number 2, and basically you can have unending sheets as well. Basically you click on the plus and it creates another sheet, plus another sheet, plus another sheet. So if you want to go and delete those, you literally right click on the sheet 5, right click on the mouse button, and you basically go and delete that sheet. If you have too many, it becomes a bit cumbersome eventually if you only need 1 or 2. So yeah, you can do the delete thing. But let's just go and see if we can delete sheet 3. Let's delete sheet 4, and we'll delete 5. So here's number 2 that I've done. You'll see it's literally a little quick and easy spreadsheet. I think this is quite nice and quite easy for a beginner. I know people that's intermediate and even better with Excel that use similar things to this, and it's really basic. So what this is it gives you For example, if you go into your bank account today and you say, what have you got in the bank? You've got 25,000. You put that in there. You'll see I've obviously put debit orders, manual payments, summary for both. So this summary for both here, you'll see as wife and husband. We'll chat through that now. This page here, sheet number 2, if you double click on it, you'll see it makes it black and white. You can actually go and immediately then type wife in there, or husband, or you can name it whatever you want. So this is on my spreadsheet. This is the wife's sheet. If you want to create another one, double click on it. You can make that the husband sheet if you want. And then basically what we can do in the near future on other videos, we can create something for the husband as well, and we can draw, basically, you'll see here, we can draw figures from the husband's sheet. We can draw onto the wife's sheet to balance. If you have a joint budget, you can do that quite nicely. So, alright, so basically you click on any cell and you start typing, for example, debit orders. You'll see the debit orders goes over 2 cells, although it just takes away the line in the one cell. So it looks like it's over 2 cells, but if you click on the actual debit order, cell number J16, as you can see here, you'll see that it's actually only in J16. K16, which is next door, K16, you see it's got no information in it. So if you go into the formula bar here, there's nothing in it. Go back to J16, you'll see it's got debit orders in it. So because it overlaps, so what you can do, it's in a column. So basically what you can do is you take your mouse cursor there. When it shows that little plus line, you see when I go off, it shows the down arrow. So you go onto the right onto the edge between J and K. You can either drag it, take the mouse button, click left and drag it. Alright, this is to undo, this little back arrow, undo. So you go back, or you can do this, you can let the plus sign form, double click. To me, a little bit quicker, but whatever you're comfortable with, it works quite well. So any of these, for example, if I take this and I make it smaller, you can see it actually cuts off most of the wording there. So what you can do is you can go B, right on the actual line at the top there, not below, not on the actual sheet or on a cell. You actually go onto the letters B, C, D, and you go right until K, L. And if you then go right here, or in fact on any of these, you'll see if you double click on there, it actually brings the columns back. It actually then, if you do it in that fashion, it actually brings all the columns into the right width, so that everything that is typed in there or that is within that cell, it is actually big enough. Alright, so debit orders we've typed. If, for example, like we've done here, you'll see if you click on there, it's got merge and center. So what it does, it puts it in right in the sort of the center of all of it. So the way to do that depends on, you normally do that sort of rather towards when you've already started sort of working on the spreadsheet, because at a later time you may find that you're only using 4 columns. You see, for example, here, I did this as an example. I've actually got 5 columns here that's supposed to be in use, and the debit orders one has gone over 5 columns. But if you look at this one here, it's only got 4 columns, and this looks better. It just looks refined and sort of finished off better because there's no extras here. This one you can see has got a bit of a leg here. It just seems like an odd out thing, so you can fix this. I just did that for you as an example. So normally once you've done and you know this is the number of columns you're going to need, let's say you need 4, you're going to click on there, on debit orders for example, keep in the left button of the mouse, drag it and you say 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to have 4 columns. You then go and click on merge and center. it then takes the debit orders. You'll see it takes the other lines away from the columns. So essentially it makes it one column. So if you take it on there and you drag down, you'll see it actually starts highlighting a range underneath it. So that's what happens if you do this. So that whole range there, that's called a range. That range starts at H3, which is H there and 3 there, and it finishes at K11. It finishes on that cell there. All right, just some information there. So that to put it back as it was, you just go and click on Merge and Center again. It takes it back like that. All right, so that's how I've created these headings. You'll see a summary for both as basically 2 columns. Wife summary is 2 columns, and I've only taken them. It just looks a little bit neater and tidier. All right. So how does this work? Basically, you put in all your debit orders that goes off automatically from your account on a monthly basis, and you put on here all the payments that you have to make manually. Basically what this is, it tells you what you haven't done yet, what debit orders haven't gone off, and what you haven't paid yet at the end of the month, or slightly a couple of days after the month end. So what you normally do, if you've added in all these amounts, obviously I have a heading there, amount paid due, same here, amount paid due. So I've put in amounts. These are your amounts that's supposed to go off your account, and basically that's your exact debit order amounts, for example. I've just put in random amounts, so excuse that. You can put in your actual amounts. Same here with the manual payments. Up to there, I would literally just put in any amount at this stage. So then basically what you can do is you can go into your bank statement. First of all, what you can do is you can say, right, I've got 25,000 Rand, $25,000, 25,000 euro, whatever you have. You put that in there and you say 25,000, that's what I've got in my bank. And then you go and you say, right, what has been paid? Okay, the personal loan I see has gone off, so you put in 1,200. You can enter, it goes down. Mobile service 1,200, that debit order has gone off. Credit card 1,550 hasn't gone off, 480 has gone off. Clothing 1,000, I see that is on my bank statement, so I can add that. Car tracker has gone off. Short-term insurance hasn't gone off. Vehicle 1 hasn't gone off. Vehicle 2, that has gone off. And you actually put so what's interesting about this is you put the actual amount that has gone through your bank statement, because then you can immediately see if there's a difference. Then you know, oh goodness, okay, so the personal loan interest rate hike or whatever, then you can immediately pick up there. If you haven't got the information or the notification, you can see that the monthly amount has gone up, and you can plan for that going into the future. So that's quite a nice one to use. You see at the bottom here, it's got the hashtag signs, and that's because the amount there is now too large for that cell. So same thing that you do that I showed you. E, just drag or double click on it, and that should bring then you should be able to see the full amount as well. All right, let's say the funeral has gone off, and just as an example, the life cover has gone off as well. All right, so now what we can see, that's the total. So how do we get the total? I can quickly just take that amount out. I can just delete it. So if you want to add up in Excel all of these, basically you've got a blank cell at the bottom. You literally take your left mouse and you click up and you drag up, and basically you go to AutoSum, and AutoSum should be under the editing options, and if you press in AutoSum, it actually adds up that whole column for you. Interesting enough, for example, if you have another debit order that you've signed, you go onto the row, left click onto the row so that it highlights it, you right click and you insert. You can then put in there vehicle 3, for example, and you can say, what is that monthly installment? That's 2,500. You can then put in paid so far 0, and you'll see that Excel, when it sees what you're doing, it picks up a pattern. It will actually, that formula there, which is literally just D5 minus E5, so it's that one minus that one, so it's D5 minus E5, brings you back to 0. So these you can either do E5 minus D5 or the other way around. You must then just know whether this is a plus or a minus, whether it's still outstanding or whether it has been paid. So you'll see Excel with the vehicle 3. What is nice about this is if you double click now here on the total, Excel is now obviously, because you inserted it inside a formula, this formula basically goes from there to there. So it goes from cell D5 to cell D17. Because you've inserted a value in between there, Excel picks it up automatically. If you put it outside, then you've got to do the recalculation, etc., etc. So it's far better if you can, if your spreadsheet allows, to go in there and just insert a line, and then just insert whatever you need to insert there. You'll see all the calculations have picked up that new line that you put in there. So this calculation here, you can literally just drag it. If you click on there, you'll see at the bottom here, there's like a little darker square. So if you put your mouse cursor on there, it becomes a smaller or a much thinner plus. Just drag that to the right, and it basically will cover, and it will drag that formula that you've got onto there. Alright, so now what have we? Manual payments. We've done the son's wages, we've done the daughter's wages, medical accounts we haven't paid, electricity bill we've paid, we're waiting for the water and sanitation, vehicle license this month we have paid. Something like a vehicle license you may only have once a year, depending which country you are, but that you can leave in there, or you can remove it and add it, etc., etc. But then, so how this has been set up is, obviously that is still due. So it says, all right, total debit orders were supposed to be 21,479. So far, I've only had 12,730 go off. I still need to basically plan for 8,738 debit orders to go off. Manual payments 4,130 per month. I've paid 3,400. There's still a 730 rand outstanding that I need to pay. So at the bottom here, the wife's sheet, you'll see if you double click on that formula, it actually tells you how the formula is calculated, and it's literally basically the amount due and the amount due under manual payments and debit orders added together. And obviously, husband, if you had any figures at the next tab, you could probably press equal there and go onto the husband's tab and put it in any cell that has a value in. At the moment it doesn't have a value, so it returns nothing. So total monthly for both husband and wife is 25,599. That's the monthly debt. Obviously if the husbands come in, that will increase. So this draws the monthly total for the wife. So this is the wife's summary only. This is summary for both. This is the wife's summary only. So this is the total payable. Still to pay, you'll see it picks up those two columns that we mentioned, due, so that's still to pay. Obviously if that's in a minus, then you've overpaid something, which you may have paid a lesser amount, or your due amount may have been lesser and you still paid the same amount, etc. So you know how to figure that out. So still to pay is 9,468. That's the total. You have 25,000 rand. So at the moment, that calculator takes these two from each other, and it says, all right, you still have 15,531 rand in the bank. If you look at this, wife's monthly total is 25,599.32. What does that tell you? That she's got 25,000 rand in her bank account. So if everything is paid, she's actually going to be short by 599 rand 32. So literally this is where you start. You put this is going to be fairly stable. These are going to be fairly stable. That's going to stay the same. If you leave the formulas in every month and you just add in, as I explained to you, it works well. And then basically you'll know within minutes, like here, that still needs to be paid, that still needs to go off, that debit order still needs to go off. all of these debit orders in here, that's still showing due, still needs to go off. And you can then do this on a daily basis. So the next day, this credit card may have gone off. This short-term insurance, 280542, may have gone off. And you'll see it starts reducing the amount due. Just keep in mind that you need to then put this in as 21,462 Rand and 50 cents. The actual bank. So when you start this exercise every day, this is the first thing you do. What is your balance as at that day? Because then it tells you, yes, you've still got funds available, but when you go here, you've still got 6,000 Rand, for example, to pay, and you go here and you've only got 452 Rand left. You see it immediately goes into the red, it goes into the negative. Here, basically what you can do is you can go here and you say, you press on to that cell, which is D29. You go conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, less than, and you put 0 on it. So here you put 0.00, and you can then select here what you want to do with it. I normally do it light red. So then if you go into the danger zone, if you want to call it that, it immediately makes it red. So this tells you that you don't have enough money in your bank account for those payments to still go off. All right. Guys, thank you very much. See you in the next video. Please like and select the bell notification and like the channel and join, subscribe the channel. We're going to do some interesting stuff still. Thank you very much.